Welcome back to 5-Minute Mentoring. The next question that I got was from a brand new leader in a leadership position for the first time. And he asked what things that I think he needed to focus on. And I thought about that and I came up with 3 very specific things that I thought any new leader going into a new role should focus on. One is to establish relationships of trust with your team. The second is to create an inclusive environment. And the third is to value your team. So I'm going to expand on the 3 of those. The first, establishing a relationship of trust with your team. This is probably one of the most important things that you can do. I'm a huge Stephen Covey fan, and in Stephen Covey's book, The Speed of Trust, he talks about how if you have to do something hard and you want to do something fast and very successfully, the first thing you need to do is to establish trust in your relationship. So how do you do that? I can tell you that one of the things that I've done in my career as I've been privileged to work with a new team is to really get to know my team. Not just get to know what their role or their responsibility is, but to spend time with each of them individually. So I would say to the new leaders, when you get in the role, take time to set up calendar appointments with your team and sit with them and get to know who they are. And then you can move into what their role or responsibilities are. When you can really understand and relate to your team members on a personal level as well as a professional level, some of the other tenets of first-line leadership fall into place very well. The second thing I would say around establishing relationships of trust as a leader is to keep your commitments. Your team should be able to know what they should expect from you. They should be able to know how you're going to serve them. As a leader, you're privileged to lead the team and you are really serving them. They ought to know what commitments you're making to them and how you're going to keep them. And then I'd say, because we're all imperfect and we're all going to fall short at some point, if we fall short on a commitment, own up to it, be accountable for it, and apologize for it, and work to do better the next time. Thirdly, around establishing trust, is to be clear on your expectations for your team. Every person that is on your team more than likely starts the day wanting to do the very best job that they can do for you, for themselves, and for the team that they're a part of. And they have to know what you expect from them. So sit down and be very clear about their role, about what your organization, your team is trying to accomplish it, and how they fit into it, and what success looks like. And the fourth area is in giving real feedback. We need to make sure that our team members understand when they are doing well and when they have work to do. So I like to think of it as when you're giving real feedback and giving it often, sometimes in the moment, not shortly after, not waiting for a performance review to give the feedback. But I think about feedback in appreciative feedback and constructive feedback. So feedback that affirms what they're doing very well. That is very motivating for people to see how they are contributing in the way that you're expecting them to do. This kind of feedback can be given in groups. It can be given in public. It is good to give this in public because what it does is it sends a message to some of the other team members about what you're looking for. What really does success look like in your eyes? It's important, though, I have caution there, of giving too much praise to one person over another. In particular, if you've got a very high-performing team where you've got a lot of folks who are doing very well, make sure you're not singling one person out, because that can be construed as a micro-inequity, and we certainly don't want to do that. One of the most powerful tools you have as a first-line leader is to give constructive feedback. And from my perspective, constructive feedback should always be given behind closed doors so you can help the person to understand what they can do better to help themselves perform better and to help the team perform better. And when you go into these discussions of constructive feedback, be very clear on your intent. If you're very clear on your intent, and your intent is to help that person to grow in their position, to help that person be a better team member, then the spirit in which you're giving that feedback is going to be felt by that person in the workforce on your team, and they're going to be able to accept it better, and they will be better. Come back for part 2 of First Line Leadership Tips, where we're going to talk about creating an inclusive environment and valuing your team. Thank you.